All right, guys, welcome back. This is going to be painting number 3. Today we're going to be painting a lantern. We are moving forward in the darkness of today. Oh my gosh, and I'm trying to knock over the table. But we're only going to be using 4 colors for today. So we're going to be using this cadmium yellow, brilliant blue, ivory black, and titanium white. We're going to do things a little bit differently first because we're going to be doing a lot of blending. Your canvas is going to be predominantly blue, but I want to wet the canvas first. This is something we haven't done in the past 2 videos. So I want you to take your water and your flat 3/4 brush, and I just want you to wet the entire canvas. Don't get it sopping wet, but I just want you to get it a little wet. It's going to be easier to move that paint around. And right now it does not matter what direction you paint. You can paint horizontally, vertically, crosshatch, however you want. You just want to get that canvas wet. Once you've got a good wet sheen on your canvas, we're going to start with the white. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this is going to be our flat brush. We're going to dip our flat brush in the white, and we're going to create this is going to be really hard to see because we're painting white on white, but I just want to get that white down. So we're going to go about 2/3 over the canvas and about midway, and we're going to put a circle of white. It does not have to be perfect, and it's really hard for you guys to see, but just go ahead and put that circle of white on there. After you've got that circle of white, I want you to dip your brush back into the white, and we're just going to throw a little bit of white up here in the top left-hand corner, and then maybe a little bit of white down here in the middle of the bottom. Not too much, just a little. We're just going to be using that to blend out. Okay. Once you have that, now we're going to dip our brush into the yellow. And we're going to go around our circle of white and just kind of fan it out. In a circular motion. So your canvas should look like this. Okay, for our next step, we're going to be using a crosshatch motion. So what a crosshatch is essentially painting X shapes. So just so you guys can see, crosshatch is just painting X's. So what we're going to do, this is going to take lots of crosshatching. We're going to wipe our paintbrush off. We want to get the excess yellow. We don't have to rinse it. We just want to wipe the yellow and white from our brush. Once you have your brush wiped, we're going to dip it in the blue. Brush in the blue, and we're going to crosshatch all the rest of this canvas. So I'm going to start up here and just start crosshatching. Here we have the white, so we're going to blend that a little bit. As you run out of blue, dip it again. This is just creating a texture. And I'm going fairly fast, but if you slower, this is what I'm doing. Painting one direction, turning, painting the other. It does not all need to be the same saturation of color. You want it to be heavier blue in some areas, lighter blue in the other.
Have you gotten to see Katy's sidewalk chalk?
Yes.
Oh my god, isn't that phenomenal? It's so cool. She won first place. Tutorial now.
I'm showing him like gloves and knee pads.
Katy, how close do we come to this circle? Are we touching it?
Right, or yeah, you're gonna touch it. Because we're gonna go back and paint over it with some more white and yellow. That's just to give us a reference. We don't want to paint the back of the canvas blue because if we go to mix it before it's dry, it's just gonna make a green, muddy green. And that's the same with all of our other ones. If you are planning on hanging this on the wall just as is, to give it a more polished finished look, don't forget to paint the edges of your canvas. before I wipe my brush, I actually put a little bit more blue up here, and I don't like the way it looks, so I'm gonna go in and dip my brush into a little bit of white, so it has blue and white on it, and then just blend this a little bit more. I want it a little bit lighter up here. I'm just gonna blend that out. So now we're gonna work on blending out this circle. It's real rough right here. So we wanna wipe our brush and then rinse it. On mine, I didn't work fast enough with my cross hatching, so I'm actually also, after I've rinsed my brush, I'm gonna dip it in the water, get it a little bit wet, and kind of go around this area and get that, re-wet that so we can start blending out. Okay. After we wet it, we're gonna go ahead and dip our brush into the white. We're gonna start kind of, here's our blue line, we're gonna go up a little bit, and we're just gonna start cross hatching. After we added some white on the outer rim and kind of blended in with the blue, we're gonna wipe our brush off. And then we're gonna dip it back in the yellow. And do the same thing and start blending that. Blend it right along that edge that you just created. It's going to start to give you a green hue. Okay, so now that we've gotten to this point, we've blended out, we're gonna sit and let it dry till it gets dry completely. So remember, once you tilt your canvas, if you see shininess, it's not dry yet. So we're gonna wait till it dries, and then we're gonna come back and we're going to be using our number 14 round brush. Okay, so now we're going to just clean up our light dip area. So this is where our lantern's going to go. We want to do the same thing we did before. We're going to take our round brush and just dip it into the water and kind of like wipe off the excess. You don't want to have a ton of water on your brush, just enough to lightly get your canvas wet. So after you've dipped it in, just kind of like circle it around and get this area wet. Just in a nice circular. Okay. Once we have gotten our circle wet, we're going to do the same thing that we did at the very beginning. We're going to dip our brush in the white and do a circle of white. So we're going to circle this white. It does not have to be a perfect circle, so do not worry if it's not. And then once you have that, I would like you to dip half of one side of your brush in white and then do the other one in yellow. So your brush is going to look like this. You're going to take the white side and go against your white and just start cross hatching out. After you've blended out your circle, now we're going to go back in and we're going to continue to blend out with our smaller brush. We're going to do the same thing we just did with the yellow and white, but we're going, actually first we're going to do some white. So throw some white on your edge all around the yellow. Just cross hatch that. And then you're going to do half white, half blue. And go around the edge of that. When you're cross-hatching, do not put a lot of pressure. You want this to be a light touch. So it's not blending as much as I want it to. What I'm gonna do now is wipe my brush off completely. And I'm gonna rinse it in the water. Brush it off again, and then I'm just gonna dip it in the water. Get it slightly wet, and then go back in and use that water to blend it a little bit more. And remember that we want to see all this texture, so it does not have, it's not going to look perfectly blended by any means. Now if you get to this point and you don't like the way that it's blending, that you've lost some of this green, you can hit it with some more yellow in this area and the blue, and it'll blend out to green. But remember, the more that you blend, the muddier it's gonna get. You wanna keep your hand really light when you're cross-hatching. I'm not gonna touch it right now, but if I were, like where I put the water, it looks a little milky down here. As I let this dry, I'm just gonna keep looking at it, because we're to a point now that we wanna dry again. If I come back and I decide I don't like this milkiness, then I'm going to just get some blue, like I'll show you. After I wipe my brush off, just get some blue and kind of cover up some of that milkiness. But remember, whatever you're gonna see those brush strokes with the cross hatching. So like you can see that swirl right there. Like maybe right here, I'm gonna clean up some of that milkiness. All right, it's just paint. You can't mess it up. It's gonna look awesome when you're done. And we're gonna dry. All right, so now we should be nice and dry, and we are going to move on to the black. So we need to get our number 4 round brush. And what we're gonna be doing is putting our tree into our picture. So trees are very organic. We don't have definite lines. You do not have to copy me completely, but we're going to do a branch going this way. We're going to bring a branch down this way and then bring one over here because we're going to hang our lantern right in this area. So first things first is I want you to dip your number 4 brush into your black paint. And we're going to start top left-hand side And we're just gonna kind of roll as we go. So here's the base. I'm gonna go over it a little bit more, make it thicker. Bring this branch, and as you go, roll your brush. So you're gonna be painting and rolling as you go down, and that's gonna keep the very tip of your brush, so when you get to the end of your branch, it's gonna get smaller. Got our first branch. Now we're going to come over here. So leave about an inch space, 1.5 inches from the top. And then we're going to come down. And go across this way and then pull it back up. When you're doing your branches, you can do breakaways, little breakaway twigs, wherever you would like. Remember to keep rolling. Okay, we're going to stem off of this branch, and what we're going to do is come down, loop him, and just bring him kind of down here. How I'm doing this one, I'm just doing a basic outline, then I'm going to go back in and do a thicker roll with my brush to get that branch look. So I spun my brush up on accident, so we're going to do an extra branch right there. I'm also going to stretch another branch kind of right across the top right here. I know it looks a little ominous right now, but we are going to be throwing flowers onto these branches, so it will not look nearly as dark. As you're rolling and adding the branches to the ends of your big branches, roll and lessen, like pull up very lightly, and you can get those much smaller looking twigs. So very, very light pressure. We're still going to be working with the black, the same size brush, and now we're going to add the lantern in. So we're going to focus around this light. We're going to drop, it's going to be a drop lantern, and then this light right here. So what we're going to do is across the top part of this light, this yellow area, I say light, it's going to be a light, but it's a yellow area. We're going to keep like your eye line straight with the top of your canvas, and you want to be somewhat of a straight line right there.
So it goes over the tree?
It's going to be going over the tree.
Oh.
Then you're going to mark in the middle of your straight line and go up right about there, and you're going to create an upside down V. And you're going to fill this in with black. The very corners, you're just going to do a small little curl up. Where we did the top of our little tent, you're going to do a little circle. Just leave it open in the middle. From the top of our circle, we're going to draw a straight line up to this branch of the tree. Okay. Now we're going to follow this line, imaginary line, down to the bottom of our yellow part, right where it starts to get like green fading into the light blue and the blue. What we're going to do is we're going to create a line that's only going to be about this wide. So not the width of our top part of our lantern. Draw your eye straight down the middle, and we're going to draw a line right there. It does not have to be perfect. We're going to make him fairly thick. After that, we're going to go in and we're going to make a circle underneath in the middle. Then we're going to do a smaller circle underneath that. Again, does not have to be perfect. I'm going to make him a little bit wider. Okay, once we have that, now we're going to follow kind of the outline of our yellow, and we're going to go extend a line with our black from the, go in about, let's say, a quarter to half of an inch and follow around the line. So I'm going to start here from the top of my lantern. I'm just going to draw a circle like that, half a circle, and connect it. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. you want to make your lines very solid, you can go back and touch it up. I like the brokenness of the lines, so I'm gonna leave it like that. After you do that, we're gonna do the same little swirl we did up here. It's just a detail. We're going to kick it out right here at the bottom. Okay, now we're going to add some more cross pieces into our lantern. There's going to be 3 going horizontally, 3 going vertically. These are going to be broken lines. So when you're putting your paintbrush to the canvas, use a very light touch. You don't want a lot of pressure. So the first one, we're going to do a line that kind of arches up. So I usually, since it's a dry canvas, I usually place my pinky on it to use as like a guide. So we're just gonna align like that. Now we're gonna do a line following the edge of our lanterns on either side, going vertically. So a vertical line. We're not gonna go all the way to the top. So like that, and then like that. Now we're gonna do, see, our middle line is not gonna be arched. It's not gonna arc out either which way. It's just gonna kind of be straight. I'm gonna start just under my top line and break that up and go down the middle. Now I'm gonna add a middle cross line. Again, remember broken lines. If you want them to be solid, you can, but I'm breaking mine up. And then the last line is the same thing across, and you're slightly arching it up. Alrighty, the last part of our lantern with the black is gonna be, we're gonna put a little dangly thing right here. I'm gonna do it. If you wanna add it, you can. If you like the way it looks right now, don't worry about it. By adding it, it's just going to make your eye go over the entire painting. It's gonna draw it down. These are going to be very broken lines. We're still gonna use the same number 4 circular brush. And it's gonna come straight down from, you're gonna do a straight line and then you're gonna arch some. So think of it like a tassel. So we're just gonna broken line it straight down from this little circle, and we're gonna do another one on each side. I'm gonna do about 5. I have lots of dark right here in this area on mine, so I'm just gonna make sure that those tassels are nice and dark. Okay, once we've gotten to this point, we are done with the black, so we want to let it dry. If you have any touch-ups you want to do to your branches, go ahead and do it now. Because after this, we're going to be adding some white. It'll be the last couple steps, and then we'll be done with our painting. Okay, so now we are going to still keep using our number 4 round brush, but we are going to be working with the white. The first thing we're gonna do is flowers. So what you're gonna do is, like, you don't have to have a point on your brush. It should be clean, so make sure that it wipes away. There's no black in this brush. You don't wanna have gray flowers. We want your flowers to be nice and white. So once your brush is clean, I want you to dip it in the white. You're gonna dip the whole thing. We're gonna use this entire brush to make flowers. They're gonna be 5-point flowers, and how we're gonna create them is, see, I'm gonna put, and you can put these flowers wherever you want. But what you're gonna do is the base of your brush right here is gonna be the center of your flower. The base of your brush, center of your flower. So I'm gonna start a flower right here. I want the center to be right on this branch. So that's where I'm putting the base. Pressing down, lifting up. Now I'm gonna turn, press down, lift up. And you're just doing it in a star pattern. There's one flower. So now you're gonna put these flowers wherever you would like, but keep in mind that the flowers are growing on the tree. So you would like to keep them on the tree. Okay, after you've got your full flowers on where you want them, you can go back and add some little buds. So with that, you're just gonna do 2. Just don't press, don't use the base. Don't use the base, just use the tip of your brush. Kind of add your little flower buds. Got my buds on. So now I'm gonna put a couple falling petals. I'm gonna put a couple through here, and just like they're falling off of where the petals currently are. So we're just gonna pretend there's like a wild breeze. Now once you have all of your flowers and your buds on, we're still going to be using our round brush, but now we're going to make a gray. We want it to be a very, very light gray. So you're going to take a big chunk of your white and just a small dab of black, and go ahead and mix that in. Okay, so we've got our light gray. Go ahead and get that gray on your brush and then spin it on the side, the edge of your plate, to try to remove all that extra paint that you just saturated your brush with. And we want to make your brush as pointy as possible. So right now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be highlighting our tree and the top of our lantern. So this is where the light's coming from. So the highlights that we're going to put on our tree are going to be where the light is shining up. So we're going to highlight where the light's going to hit the branch. So you're going to highlight the lower part of this branch, the right side of these branches, a little bit of highlight here, the underside of this branch, so anywhere the light's going to be hitting. But before we do that, we're going to start with this lantern top. So take your brush, put it here, and then pull to the top. We're also going to do a very thin line across the top. We're going to do the same thing down here. Oops, a little more. Just to highlight that lantern. Also going to put like a little dot on those. Okay, so I'm going to start from the top down. The light's going to be hitting the branch, this top branch from underneath, so we're going to do a very light line towards the bottom. Go ahead and break that line a little bit, and you can highlight the bottom of those branches. Dip your brush in your paint again, and then do that spin on the edge of your plate. This side, highlight this side. Remember, very light touch. Remember the right side of that branch because the light's shining up. When you get to the branch on the left side or the right side of the lantern, you're going to highlight the left side of the branch, underneath and left. last highlight. I've used almost all the paint on the brush, but I'm gonna like lightly just kind of do a line down my lantern. If there's anywhere where your branch looks a little thicker, like there might be knots in it, if you can imagine there being like a knot in your branch, you can hit that with a quick highlight because it would be bumped up so the light would be shining on it. So like right there. Okay, so once you're satisfied with your highlights, we're gonna go back in, add some yellow centers to our flowers, and then we will be done. We just need to sign it, and that is a painting. So I'm gonna wipe my brush off, rinse it a little bit, and then I'm gonna dip the same round brush into the yellow. And I actually want this to be a lighter yellow, I think. So I'm going to take some yellow and mix it with some white. Just make it a little softer of a yellow. Okay. Once I have it all on my brush, I'm just going to take my brush and I'm going to dot it in the middle. It doesn't have to be anything circular. You don't have to make a circle. All you have to do is dot it in the center and pull up. And I'm only going to put the dots in my full blooms. I'm not going to put it in the blossoms that I added. So there we have it, guys. That is our lantern painting. Don't forget to sign it, and then please make sure to post your final product to our MWR page. We really like to see all of you guys' masterpieces. All right, thank you for joining us. Have a good one. Bye.